Hey fellow beaters, so here is tutorial for today. I'm calling it the Lustrous bracelet. I had a ring that I did in an earlier tutorial using this component, so I wanted to do a bracelet, or you could do you could also turn this into a necklace. It's got a nice drape to it and a good amount of weight. So you can cut, just make it longer and turn it into a necklace, up to you. So I made 5 units. I need about a 5.5, 6-inch bracelet, and so I would say you want 5 to, if you want a 6-inch bracelet, I would say you need about 5 to 6 units, depending on the length of. It kind of depends on your clasp. If you have a 7-inch wrist or an 8-inch, so for a 7-inch, you might want to make 6 to 7 components, and you'll kind of be able to tell as you go, decide. But just to kind of bear in mind, for 7, think 7. For 8, think 8 units, so forth. So that way you have enough beads. So to make, so what you're gonna need are superduos 11s. These are 3x4 rondelles and an 8mm bead. I haven't tried this with other bead shapes, so you could probably get it to work with, let's say, a 4mm bicone or a round. I tried it with the 3mm bead and it didn't work as well. So I think the rondelles are the best, but you can play around with other bead shapes. So for one component, so this is the smaller connector component, you'll need 2 rondelles. And then for the bigger component, I'm just gonna flip it around so you can see, you'll need 6 there. And you also need 6 superduos for the component. And then of course 1 8mm bead. So I've got 5 8mm beads and then 30 superduos. Let's see, so that's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 12 plus the 30. So 42 rondelles. Okay, there we go. I can do the math. I should have done that ahead of time instead of doing it as I'm recording. But that's sort of what to start with, and you can adjust accordingly. But as long as you know what you need for one component, then you can just multiply and know exactly what you'll need for your length of bracelet. In addition, I've used a toggle clasp, but you can use whatever clasp you prefer. So if you like the magnetic or lobster claw, whatever works for you. You're gonna need some fireline. I used a 6-pound smoke fireline. I use that partially because it's easier for you to see it on camera. So I know it shows through on the white beads, but that's okay. And then talk about colors. That's the last thing I didn't do. So the color of the superduo is opaque violet white luster. And then for the 11s, we've got Miyuki Galvanized Rose is the color of the 11s. These are from Aura Crystals. The superduos were from Christina Jeffries Gemstones. You can see christinajeffries.com. I bought these on Amazon, but that's the actual seller on Amazon. The 8mm beads, those 8mm. That color is Blue Luster, and these are from Potomac Beads. And the rondelles are from Michaels. These are just milky white is the color, is what that is. And you can just buy those at any Michaels if you're in the US. So that's all you need. Let's get started. All right, so to start the piece, what you are gonna do is pick up 6 of superduos and 6 of the rondelles. So start with the superduo and then a rondelle, superduo, rondelle, and do that until you have 6 of each bead. Bring them down to the end of your thread, like I've got here, and then I'm just going to tie a knot to make a ring. So easy enough. There it is. There's my ring. So just a basic overhead knot. And that's what you should have. Okay, then go through all of the beads again to reinforce our ring. So I'm doing this 2 beads at a time. Sorry about that. Okay, just got a few more to do. Almost there. So I do this carefully because I don't want the thread getting caught anywhere, and I want to make sure that I catch all the beads. So once you have gotten all the way around, you want to just make sure you're coming out of a rondelle. And so here I am. I'm going to come out of the rondelle. And this is what you should get. And then I'm just going to sort of push these 11s, or sorry, not 11s, the superduos towards the center. And I'm going to, so there I am coming out of that rondelle, pick up 3 11s. And 3, there we go. And go into the next rondelle. So you're skipping the superduo and just going over into the rondelle. So, and it should form like a little picot right over the superduo. And then just repeat that all the way around. So once again, you're gonna pick up 3 11s and go into the next rondelle. Just like that. And again, pick up 3 11s, and you're just going into the rondelle. So you're gonna do this 6 times because there are 6 superduos, so all of them get covered. And I've got 3, and I'm going into the rondelle. And as you can see, I'm pushing the superduo into the center. They're basically almost standing up straight. Okay, I've got 2 more left to do. So again, picking up 3 of my 11s and just going into the rondelle. So pretty easy, straightforward step. Okay, last time. I've got my 3, and now I'm going into the rondelle. Okay, so yeah, I'm coming out of the rondelle here, and what I'm actually gonna do is go into the first 2 of the 3 picot beads here, the 3 11s. Just like that, and then I'm going to pick up, actually first I'm gonna pick up an 11, then a rondelle, then 3 11s, and then another rondelle, and an 11. So that is 11, rondelle, 3 11s, rondelle, and an 11. Go back around just that rondelle in the center. And this is what you should have. So we are going to reinforce that. So I'm going to go up into the 11 in the rondelle. And then into the 11s here. Then down the third 11 and a rondelle and the 11. Like so, and then into that 11 that's in the center there, and we got to go back up because I got to make the ear wire loop now. So continue up into the 11 in the rondelle again. Make sure thread doesn't get caught anywhere. Okay, now come out, go through the first 2 11s, Okay, so here's what the piece looks like at this point, and all I'm gonna do is add the diamond pattern that I usually do. So you can of course do whatever you prefer. This is just the way I do it. So to do that, you pick up 4 11s, go back around just the 11 there in the center. So you have this. Go through the first 11. Now what you're going to do is pick up 1 11 and go into the next 11 there. And then repeat. So pick up another 11, go into the next 11. And you can see the diamond shape is forming, and one more time, pick up an 11 and go into the next 11. Okay, and now we just make our way back down. Or actually, we'll reinforce that because I did not reinforce that yet. So go ahead and reinforce. Best way to do this is to do 2 beads at a time because of the angles. And then make your way down. So now we can make our way down. The 11, the rondelle, and the 11. Then into the next 11 there, which is going to be the center. It's basically part of that picot. And then go through the 11 and the rondelle, and then the superduo, and you're just gonna go until you get to this superduo right over here. So we're gonna go all the way across. So there we go. So again, once again, I've gone through the rondelle and the superduo. And rondelle, and I'm coming out of the superduo. Now go ahead and switch into the other hole of the superduo. Okay, so now we're going to add our 8mm. So pick up the 8mm, bring it down to the bottom of your thread, and then pop it into place. So the thread here is basically, it's going from right to left. And so this time, to go into the superduo that's directly opposite, you're gonna go left to right. So go this way. And I'm just holding the bead in place, like so. And then go back into that 8mm. And then into the superduo, and this superduo we were going right to left, so I'm just gonna do that again, and that is I don't even understand how the thread gets wrapped around all these things on my desk. Okay, so as you can see, it's gonna go, so the thread goes right to left into the 8mm, then left to right into the superduo, then back into the 8mm, and then again, right to left in the superduo. And that is how you anchor the 8mm bead. And then for this last part, you're just gonna add some 11s all the way around. So I'm going to pick up 2 11s and go into the next superduo here. And repeat, pick up 2, go into the next superduo. Pick up 2, go into the next superduo. So basically we're kind of doing almost like a bezel to the bead, but not really. So I guess you could look at it as a bezel. And again, pick up 2, go into the next superduo as I'm going around here. And you grab the tail thread there. Get that out of the way. Move that over. I will remove that here in just a second, trim that off. And again, pick up 2, go into the superduo there. And one more time. Pick up 2, and you should be all the way around. So here we go. And there it is, there is that. And so if it's a little loose, go ahead and reinforce it. So if you feel, see there's a little bit of gap there. And you can always add more 11s if you feel like there's too much of a gap. But add a 3rd one, doesn't matter, really. It's not gonna change it, it's more decorative, but this should tighten it up as the 2, and then just going around again to reinforce should tighten everything up. And look, oh look, see, I skipped it. Do you see that? I skipped that 11 accidentally. So that's one thing you do want to watch out for as you're going. It's very easy to do, and it's easy to miss then. You know, you can be several steps down and realize that you skipped a bead and it's looking weird and wonky. And I really hate ripping out stitches. You know, when I've gone really far apart, further down, then it's a pain. All that beautiful work has to be undone. So go slow, pay attention, just look at your work. That's all you got to do. Okay, so once you get all the way across, what we're gonna do is just keep going. So basically this is the superduo where we started, where we started our anchoring of the 8mm. So what I'm gonna do is go right past that one, and I want to come out of the superduo that is the one after it. And this is nice and solid. Okay, so switch back down into the second hole of the superduo and then go through the rondelle, and then you are gonna go up into the 11s. So I'm coming out of that rondelle there so far. My needle didn't cooperate. That's okay. And continue through. You're going to come out of the middle 11, the second 11. Okay, here's the piece. Isn't that gorgeous? I just love this component. The look of it is just stunning. And I think it's just these 8mm beads are beautiful. Just love that color. Okay, so we are actually going to do basically the same thing on this side as we did over here. And so to do that, what you're going to do is pick up an 11, then a rondelle, and then 3 11s, a rondelle, and there we go, another 11. So go back around just the middle, 11. This is what you get. And then I'm going to reinforce the whole thing by going through all the beads once again. And I'm just tightening my thread as I go. I just want to make sure there's no slack in the thread. And again, we are just reinforcing. So that's a little loose, that's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten that up here just a second. I just wanna get to this bead here in the center. And that is the bead where we started. Okay, so now what you wanna do is come out of the bead here in the middle. That's what you wanna do. So go back up into the 11, the rondelle, and then up into the first two 11s. So now it's time to make the second unit. And so this is made a little bit differently because I didn't want to, one of the things, I think I've mentioned this before in a previous video, that I don't like to do, I like to make continuous pieces. So I don't like to make individual components and then put them together. So my trick is always to figure out a way that I can make the bracelet continuous. And so in order to make this a continuous piece, what we're gonna do is pick up an 11, then a rondelle, and we're gonna need a total of 6 rondelles and the superduo. So then a superduo, a rondelle, a superduo, a rondelle, superduo, rondelle, superduo, and my rondelle here. So that is 4. I need one more superduo, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 of the rondelles. We are going to add this 6th superduo here in just a second, but first, so here's what you should have on your thread. Let me just get this last 11, and then I will go through it. So you're going to start with an 11, then a rondelle, then a superduo, rondelle, superduo, rondelle, so forth until you have 5 superduos on your thread and 6 rondelles. And then you're going to finish off with an 11. And then you're going to go back through the bead where the thread is coming out. So just that bead there in the center. So basically we've made the base once again. So this is the bottom base. Let me flip that over. And you can see we have part of the base made. So when we started with rondelles and superduos, and that's basically what we have here. Now what you're gonna do is reinforce. So just go through all of the beads again. And we did that before too. So go through all the beads until you get to the last rondelle here on this side. So skip the, so stop there basically. And what you're gonna do is add in our last superduo number 6. And so you're gonna skip over the 11s and go into the rondelle. And now we got all 6. So that's our base now. See, I told you, I always like to figure out a way to make it a continuous piece. So this is how I establish that this is a continuous piece. And now a lot of the steps we're gonna do is, because we've got that base already, you're just gonna be repeating the steps we did to make this one now. It's all in, it's basically all set up. Okay, so the next step that I did was add in those 11 Opaques, right? So If you recall, the next part, you want to come out of a rondelle and pick up 3 11s. There's 3, and you go into the next rondelle. So you're skipping those superduos, remember? And if it doesn't pop in like it's supposed to, just pull the middle one and it should just look like that. And then you're just going to repeat all the way around. So once again, pick up 3 and go into the next rondelle. And again, pick up 3, go into the next rondelle, pick up 3, skip that superduo and go into the rondelle. And again, remember to push the superduos towards the center as you're working. And one more time, I am going to add my 3 11s and go directly into the rondelle. Okay, then go into the 11. I'm just doing a little reinforcing there. So continue into the 11s. Okay, so here is the piece so far. We're making number 2, component number 2. There's our little connecting unit. And now what I'm going to do is make my way over to this superduo right there. And we're going to add our 8mm, and then we'll add our 11s, and the component will be done. See, this is actually, it looks more complicated than it is. It's so easy. Okay, so let's make our way over. So I'm going to go into this rondelle now. And into the superduo. And do that again. Here, rondelle and superduo. And then one more time, rondelle and superduo. All right, now time to add that 8mm. So I'm going to switch into the second hole of this superduo where the thread is coming out, right there. And do that. Pick up my 8mm. Pop that down. So all you have to do is pay attention to the direction of the thread. So as I pointed out before in the previous unit, oops, let's get that popped in there. So the thread is going right to left. So it's going in that direction. So on the opposite side, I want to go left to right. And this just depends on how, if you're a right-handed beater, you might have it going in the other direction. I just want to make sure you know that basically you're making a loop is what you're doing there between the 3 beads. Now go back into the 8mm. Tighten it, make sure there's no slack. And again, so now again, we're back. This is where we started. This superduo is where it all started for this part. So I am once again going to go, whoops. And I'm missing the hole. Always fun to do this all on camera where you are like, oh, I'm clumsy. There we go. Okay. So again, I am going right to left to anchor, final anchor for that 8mm bead. tightening. I'm just holding everything down and tightening it up. That's all I'm doing there. And there you go. So the only thing missing are adding in the 11s. So pick up 2 11s and then just go into the next superduo. So I'm just gonna, let me pick this up. Pick up 2 again and go into the next superduo. Pick it up again. And go into the next superduo. One more time. Go ahead and pick up 2 and go into the next superduo. And I'm just turning the work. Pick up 2. Go into the next superduo here. Ooh, okay. Panic there for a second thinking, oh no, is that hole clogged? So I don't always check those superduos anymore. I used to when superduos first came out, I used to do that all the time. Now I don't worry about it so much. I feel like they've gotten the process better, but every once in a while you might want to do that. Just check check and make sure all the holes are not clogged. Okay, so here they are. Isn't that gorgeous? I keep saying that, but I'm in love with the colors. That's why I'm all like giddy. Anyway, go ahead and reinforce that. So we're going to go all the way around again. And that way it tightens everything up. And again, make sure you don't skip any beads. As you recall, I did that at one point and had to back out. Luckily, I didn't get very far and I caught it early. Okay, thread, come on. There we go, stop there. Okay. Ooh. And so I'm down these 2 beads here. Okay, so it's all been tightened and it looks nice and snug as a bug, or this bead looks nice and snug there. Now what you're going to do is continue, so this is the superduo where we came up to the second hole and added in the 8mm. So go past that superduo and come out of the one that's right after it. So go through the 2 11s and then the next superduo. Then go down into the second hole of the superduo and into the rondelle. And if you can, come out of the next, go through the 2 11s or 2. And there we are. So now you're going to make this unit here, the connector unit. And so I'm going to show you how to do that one more time, and then I'll show you how to make the bottom base. But after that, you're on your own. Okay, so to do that, you're going to do an 11, a rondelle, come here, rondelles, 3 11s, and another rondelle, come here, there we go, and one more 11. Okay, so what did I pick up? An 11, a rondelle, 3 11s, rondelle, 11. You're coming out of that middle 11 there, so you are going to go back around that 11 and then reinforce. So go through all the beads one more time. So feel free to reinforce this more than 2 times. Like I only do it twice. I feel like that's sufficient, but you can do it more. You can use a thicker thread so you don't have to reinforce quite as much. Up to you. This is a 6-pound fireline, by the way, in case you're wondering. Okay, so now back up and we come back out of this middle 11 up there. Okay, so if you remember how to add the next set, so pick up an 11, that's where you start with an 11, a rondelle, and then we're gonna get a bunch of add the rondelles and superduos. So let's bring over, oh, here they are, they're hiding. So 11 rondelle, superduo. Oh, there's a whole rondelle, superduo, rondelle, superduo, rondelle, superduo. Okay, that's 4 of the superduo, so I still gotta go one more, and then a rondelle, so, and the 11. So let's see, did I get it all? So 111, then it's gonna be rondelles, and we want 6 of those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 5 superduos. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's what you want, and you end with an 11. Go back through that 11 just there, that's popping out. That's where the thread is exiting. And there's our base again. We've got our base. And what you're gonna do is reinforce it. So go through the 11, the rondelles and the superduos. So I'm just gonna do a few beads at a time. And then now I'm gonna come out of the rondelle here, the last one, number 6. Excuse me. There we go, there's number 6. And add in superduo number 6. So pick up a superduo, and then you're just gonna go into the rondelles. And then continue just into the rondelle there. Because now we're gonna add our 11s after this. So there you go, we've got our 6 superduos in now. Now it's time to add the picots that we have. And you can, I mean, if you don't want to add those, I just think they look really cute there at the bottom. So I personally like the look of it, but you could always leave those off too. This is an optional step. And what's nice is this adds an extra little bit of reinforcement to the base. So 3 11s and directly into the rondelle, skipping the superduo, and repeat 3 11s into the rondelle, three 11s and the rondelle. Okay, so almost there, almost all the way around. 3 11s into the rondelle, and one more time, 3 11s and into the rondelle. Now continue up into the 11s, so I'm just going to go into that 11 there right after the rondelle, and then I'm going into the 11, the next 2 11s, and again I'm basically, this helps strengthen the connection here. So there's the one, here's the next one, and then we just make our way towards the superduo on the opposite side. So we want to come out of that superduo here with where my thumb is, right there. Okay, so I just went through rondelle, superduo. So again, it's going to be rondelle and then superduo. And last time, rondelle, and I want to come out of this superduo here. Okay, and then we are going into the superduo. So second hold of the superduo, that is. I'm switching over. And to keep everything the same, oops, that one's not up. You want them all kind of standing up. That makes it a little easier to work with. Just like that. Grab your 8mm. So once again, I have my thread going right to left. This, and I have it doing this just as a demonstration purpose. It doesn't really matter. You can have it turned this way. So now the thread's going down, and pop in that 8mm. So now you're going to go up, right? So go up, or you're going left to right, right to left, left to right. Stick with what I've been doing, so not switch up on you, so I don't want to confuse anyone. And then back through that 8mm. And again, back through that superduo from right to left. Okay, I'm trying to do this. Part of the reason why I'm not coordinated there is, as you can notice, I'm trying to do that with my right hand. That is part of why that was, I'm clumsy with it. Okay, so, and just made notice that that popped down, making sure they all stay up, and then make sure these is nice and tight. Okay, so last part is to go ahead and add the 11s. So we're going to add 2 11s between each superduo. So again, pick up 2 11s, go into the next superduo, pick up 2 11s, go into the next superduo, picking up 2 11s again, and go into the next superduo. Okay, almost there. Pick up 2 11s, go into the next superduo, and 2 more. So pick up 2, go into the next superduo there, and we're back around, pick up 2, and now reinforce everything. So the 11s and the superduo. Okay, my last 2 11s to go through, and then the superduo. So we've gone all the way around, and just like I showed you before, go past the superduo where we start here, and then go into the 2 11s and the next superduo. Switch to the other hole of the same superduo, and then go through the rondelle. And you want to come out of the 2 11s, just like I did there. So superduo, rondelle, 2 11s. And we are back. So keep going until you get the desired length. You're just repeating all the steps I just showed you. And I will see you at the end. All right, so I made a couple of additional units. So this bracelet is at about, so it's 5 units that I made of the big pieces, and so if I measure that, we're right at about, whoops, not quite there, 5 1/4. I still have to add the ear wire loop, and then my clasp will make it into the 6-inch. So I would say you want to make 1 unit per inch is essentially what this works out as. So think of it that way. So that way you have an idea. So if you need a 6-inch bracelet, think that you'll need 6 units, 5 to 6 units. And if you need a 7-inch, then think 6 or 7 inches. And a lot of it will depend on the clasp. I'm using a toggle this time, so it's a little bit bigger, and so I don't need to make that 6 unit this for my bracelet. I hope that makes sense. Anyways, I'm just going to show you how to make the diamond on the opposite side, and all you're doing is repeating until you get to this, and then you just want to come out of that middle 11-0 bead, and then instead of adding the rondelles and the superduos, you're going to just pick up 4 11s, go back around the bead in the center, and then go through the first 11 in the group of 4. Just like so, then pick up an 11, go into the next 11. Pick up another 11, go into the next one. Pick up an 11, go into the next 2 11s, just like that. So you have your diamond there, and then go ahead and reinforce. So this is where all the stress is on the bracelet, is right at the clasp, and so best to always reinforce that. And the last 2. So I've been doing 2 beads at a time like I usually do. And then I'm just going to make my way down. So I'm going through the last set of beads here. Okay, got my thread caught somewhere. There we go. Sorry. And so I'm coming out of this 11 there. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue into the rondelle and then through the 11s here. And you just want to tie some 1/2-inch knots, and so we're going to do that right here between the 11 and the rondelle. Say tie about 2 or 3 knots and you're good. There's 1, and then I'm just going to go through. So I just went through the rondelle and the superduo. And I'll go ahead and tie another one here. This one's a little bit trickier to get to. You're gonna have to push down on the 11s there and then get in between the threads. Actually, what I might do, since that's proving to be a little trickier, so just something to note as you're doing this is actually tie off here. I'm gonna go through that rondelle. And then go through the 11s. So the knot's going to be made between the 11 and the rondelle, and that will make it a little bit easier to get between the threads and not shift any beads around. I really don't like to shift beads around once they're, I feel like it messes with the integrity of the thread, the strength of the thread. So I don't like to mess around too much with that once my piece is done. So now I'll go through the rondelle and the superduo. Just like that. Then I'm going to switch directions here and go into the other hole of the superduo and then through 2 11s. Make my final knot between the 11 and the superduo. And then just weave the thread through some beads. So through the superduo, some 11s. Again, superduo and some 11s, and out of this superduo, and then I'll trim it. There we are. Okay, so here's the bracelet, and now I just need to add the jump rings, and let's see, here we go. Grab my jump ring. I'm just gonna open that here really quick. Got it open, and it should fit through. See, it fits through depending on your jump ring. So I use kind of thick jump rings too, just to make sure they're nice and strong and the metal doesn't quickly warp. And then just close them up. And we're gonna do that on the other side. There's my open jump ring, and I'm just gonna pop it in, pop in the clasp, close the jump ring. Okay, here we are. There is the bracelet. I hope you like my Lustrous bracelet. Hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and if you do make it, feel free to post some pictures. I have a Facebook group with the same name as the channel, so JRPDesigns Crafters. Join and post. I love to see the colors that you end up using. This would be fun if you have a bunch of 8mm gemstone beads in the center. Anyway, I'll see you next time.